Imagine a city that stood as the heart of the Eastern Roman Empire, a beacon of culture, wealth, and military might. For over 1,000 years, Constantinople had withstood invasions, sieges, and attacks. But in the year 1453, that long reign came to an end in a dramatic and pivotal moment in world history: the fall of Constantinople. To understand the fall of Constantinople, we need to step back in time. Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, which was the eastern continuation of the Roman Empire. Located strategically on the Bosporus Strait, it was a crossroads of trade, culture, and military power. By the mid-15th century, however, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self. The empire had been shrinking for centuries, slowly losing territory to rising powers. The mighty Byzantine capital was now surrounded by the expanding Ottoman Empire, led by a determined sultan, Mehmed II. To understand the fall of Constantinople, we need to step back in time. Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, which was the eastern continuation of the Roman Empire. Located strategically on the Bosporus Strait, it was a crossroads of trade, culture, and military power. By the mid-15th century, however, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self. The empire had been shrinking for centuries, slowly losing territory to rising powers. The mighty Byzantine capital was now surrounded by the expanding Ottoman Empire, led by a determined sultan, Mehmed II. In the spring of 1453, the stage was set for the final chapter of Constantinople's long history. Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, had a vision to capture Constantinople and cement his legacy as one of the greatest rulers of his time. For years, he had been preparing for this moment, gathering armies, building war machines, and laying siege to the city that had stood for over 1,000 years. On April 6, 1453, Mehmed's forces, numbering around 80,000 men, surrounded Constantinople. They came with massive cannons, some of the largest ever built, capable of tearing down the Theodosian walls, the city's centuries-old defenses. Inside the walls of Constantinople, the situation was dire. The city's defenders numbered only around 7,000 soldiers, led by the last Byzantine emperor, Constantine IV Palaiologos. Constantine was a brave and determined leader, but he was vastly outnumbered. To make matters worse, the Byzantine Empire had little external support. They had requested aid from the West, but only a small contingent of Venetian and Genoese mercenaries arrived in time. The defenders knew that this could very well be the end, but they also knew that they had one advantage: Constantinople's walls. For centuries, these walls had repelled invaders, and they were considered nearly impenetrable. The Ottomans wasted no time in unleashing their massive cannons. These huge, terrifying weapons were capable of firing enormous stone balls, some weighing over 600 pounds. The city's defenses, once thought impregnable, now faced a new kind of warfare. Mehmed's army spent weeks hammering the walls with relentless artillery fire. The Byzantine defenders tried to patch up the damage, but it was clear that the walls were slowly being worn down. Despite their best efforts, the defenders knew that it was only a matter of time before the walls would fall. After nearly 2 months of siege, on the night of May 21, 1453, the final assault began. The Ottoman forces launched a full-scale attack, breaking through sections of the walls and pushing into the city. The defenders fought with everything they had, but they were vastly outnumbered. The fall of the Great Gate of St. Romanus, one of the most crucial defenses, was a turning point. Once that gate fell, the Ottomans poured into the city. Constantine V, despite knowing the city was lost, led his soldiers in a heroic last stand. But by May 29, 1453, it was clear that Constantinople had fallen. On that fateful day, as the sun set over the Bosporus, Constantine V was found dead, having fought to the bitter end. With the fall of Constantinople, the Byzantine Empire ceased to exist. The city, once the heart of Eastern Christianity, was now in the hands of the Ottomans. Mehmed II entered the city in triumph, and as legend has it, he stepped into the Hagia Sophia, the great cathedral of the city, and declared it a mosque. For the people of Constantinople, the world they had known was gone. The Ottomans would now rule the city, renaming it Istanbul, and it would become the new capital of an empire that would last for centuries. The fall of Constantinople had far-reaching consequences. For the Ottomans, it marked the beginning of an empire that would dominate the Eastern Mediterranean for centuries. For the rest of the world, it marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the collapse of the last remnants of the Roman Empire. But the fall also signified the end of the medieval era and the beginning of the Renaissance. The city's fall spurred a wave of migrations, with many scholars, artists, and intellectuals fleeing to the West. They brought with them ancient Greek and Roman texts, fueling the growth of knowledge and learning in places like Italy and sparking the Renaissance. The fall of Constantinople also marked a key moment in the history of Christianity. The Ottoman Empire's rise was seen as the beginning of the end for the Christian Byzantine world and the start of the Ottoman domination of southeastern Europe. The fall of Constantinople remains one of the most significant events in world history. It was not just the fall of a city, it was the end of a 1,000-year-old empire, the closing of an era, and the dawn of a new age. Today, Istanbul stands as a living reminder of that turning point in history, a city that has been the crossroads of civilizations for millennia. Constantinople may have fallen, but its legacy still echoes through history, through its art, its architecture, its culture, and its role as a bridge between East and West. Thank you for joining us today on this journey back in time. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more history stories. And tell us, how do you think the fall of Constantinople changed the world forever?